All right, so we're live. Welcome to day 10 of the 90,000 word novel as fast as possible challenge. I'm actually getting good at this. So, hey, it's not even 8 o'clock on the West Coast. I'm done writing for the day. I don't want to be, but I am. And that's part of the message of the uh, first double digit day of this challenge is that life still happens, right? We still have other things to do. So, I choose to frame it in a way, in a positive way. I would love to not have to do all those other things and be able to get back to the book and write some more. But I can't. I've got to get other things done. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Hopefully, that will help some of you. So, today's goal, because of all these other things I have to do, was 5,000 words, which before I did this challenge, for those of you who've been following along all the way, you know this. Those of you who may just have tripped across this and seen it, 5,000 words a day is a good standard for old me. Now that I've done this challenge, I realize how lazy I was. Me, not ascribing anything to you and your writing habits. For me, I realized how lazy I was when I would be satisfied with a 4,000, 5,000 word day. Because now I realize mentally in one writing session, I can easily hit 8,000 words. On a good day, in an action sequence or something like that, I can hit 10,000 words. And it is possible that if I develop a schedule in the future where I give myself breaks, maybe, I'd have to break it up. I'd have to think about it. But maybe having second writing sessions in a day, I could hit 10,000 words regularly, 15,000 words. We'll see. I'm not worrying about that right now. Check back in with me in the future. So today's goal was 5,000. I started at 510 because I just had a slow get going day today and had a funky scene. It was a breather chapter. Remember, I talked about that a couple days ago. They're all starting to mesh together now. The rising and falling action. Today's first chapter was a falling chapter. It was where I needed you as a reader to breathe, to get a chance to catch your breath. Those aren't necessarily super stimulating to write, so it was a little more difficult. I finished that chapter, continued on, like I've talked about before. You never stop at the end of a chapter. It is so hard to pick up your writing the next time if you do that. Continued on to the next chapter where Zeke finds himself back in the thick of problems and trouble. And I got to do something really cool with Creed. So, those of you who are actually fans of the series, Creed comes into its own a little bit more in the scene that I'm working on today. And it's really hard to not go back and finish that. I followed my Hemingway tip. I'd stopped that scene right at a good juncture. Uh, but it was tempting to keep going because Creed just did something awesome. And basically, I had to stop. The good news is tomorrow, when I things on my plate, I'm going to be able to hit the ground sprinting. I won't even have to stretch because of where I stopped. So started at 510 to hit 5,000 words. I was finished by 7:05 with all those challenges, and I finished at 56:18. So surpassed that goal by 600. Remember what I said yesterday? I always make sure I stop at that good point. So I have to at least hit the minimum of the word count goal. So as long as everything goes as planned, I should always exceed my goal. It's just how much I exceed by. Now, one of the tips, tools, and tactics I wanted to share was specific to today. You know, I've been talking about 7, 8, 9, 10,000 word days. And I just told you that my goal for today was only for me, only 5,000 words. But that's because I have all of October and I'm going to try to get a lot of November's podcast episodes done, and that's going to take some time. I've got a book release less than a week now. Can't I've got marketing stuff I've got to do. I've been really bad about it, about doing that, and I need to get on it. I need to get with all those people who had advanced copies of Cancer's Curse who haven't left reviews yet on Goodreads. Can't do it on Amazon yet because the book's not released. Well, you can, but you have to have had a verified purchase for it, type of thing. So I need to get on that. So I've got a lot of administrative things to do, but the big one being the podcast, I wanted to highlight to you. One of the things I do to help free up that mental space to be creative is taking sacrifices like today. I want to keep writing that chapter. This chapter I'm in right now is a very fun chapter. It's an important chapter, but it's just as a guy, it's a lot of violence, and I enjoy writing violence. So it really hurts to not be able to. But by committing as much as I can today to getting those podcasts recorded and edited and produced and uploaded to the websites, stuff like that, at least through October, that's the goal. If I can stretch it into November, I'll be happy. But getting those done proactively manages stress. That is something that I release regularly, the podcast, and to have it already done, uploaded, and scheduled, behind the scenes, the world has no idea that those are already long done. I don't have to sweat it. I can go weeks without even thinking about the podcast anymore. And that gives me the brain space to be creative for these books. For you, something to consider. Where, how, where/how can you proactively manage the things that stress you, those demands, whatever that may be, that hinder your ability to tap into your creativity or spend time in your creative pursuits? Last tip, tool, tactic for today: series length, business considerations. I hinted at this yesterday, and I'm learning as I do this. This is my first official series work, and I read all the literature. I followed all the advice of the smart people. When it comes to, as an indie author, you have to write in series. It has to be, on point, on brand, right to market if you want to. But if you really want to at least have some chicken wing money, you've got to write in a series. Other standalone books for indies, we just don't, very, very few of us make more than a few bucks a month at those standalones. So series work has that potential. Series length. If I could turn back time, I would really, truly, 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 really reconsider doing this series first. I wouldn't do Crown of Thieves. And those of you who follow my posts and horrible writing podcast when I had it, you heard me talk about why I did the Zodiac uh, first before Crown of Thieves. Crown of Thieves is going to be epic fantasy. It's going to be a big, huge, is my true, true, true love, i.e., one of my three swords hanging over there. This stuff behind me, the dragon, right? It's my jam. I absolutely love it. So I would have found something else. Maybe like this Battleborn trilogy I'm going to start working on after this fifth book. A trilogy like Battleborn would have been a much smarter way for me to dive into the series work and test things out. As it is right now, every day, and I mean literally every day, I battle with myself about this Zodiac series. I want to finish it. There are a number of people who are fans of this series who want me to finish it. I truly, truly want to finish this story for everybody, because the goal I have in creating these books is sharing it with other people. But at the same time, I got to pay these bills, right? For the books, not even the light bills, just for the books alone. So I would never invest in a 12 book series again as my first one. And that's my advice to you. My last tip, tool, or tactic for today's video: find something short, like beginning to end, something short, like a trilogy, and start learning and testing the waters that way. Start building your fan base that way, instead of jumping into 5, 6, 7, 12 book series as your first one where people are going to start finding you. Um, that way you can budget better. You can estimate your costs better, how much you're willing to invest/lose, and what it's worth to you to build that following versus something like this. And fans can commit easier to a trilogy than a 12 book series. I imagine if I had all 12 books done, I would get a lot more readership because people know the story is done. So they can start invest in the characters knowing they're going to get that payoff. Right now, they don't know. So that does hurt me. These are business considerations I have to think about, and so do you. But we were at 9:50, so I got to hang up so we get this under 10. You all have an epic day 10, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.